What is going on, everybody? We're here. We're live. It is Sunday. Sunday fun day. And we are here. Like 1 minute late, 2 minutes late. Pretty close to on time. It's pretty good, at least for me. Not even 5 minutes late. So I think we're here. We're good to go. Was not able to go live on Wednesday like I had originally intended to. I said that last Sunday that I wasn't sure. I did a day over at Universal. I was kind of out all day. I was driving around. So not able to be home, unfortunately, for Wednesday. But that's okay. We got a bunch saved up for today. Things I even may have talked about Wednesday that we'll push. We'll push to today and talk about it now anyway, which is great. But thank you for joining me. Let's say hi to the people in the chat here. Let's say hi to some of the peeps hanging out. Everybody with their random community crowns, whatever these things are. I don't really understand how the community leaderboard works. I know you get points for chatting. I think you get points for super chatting as well. I don't know how. I don't know how many points you get for a chat, how many points you get for a super chat. No fucking idea. But people get their little crowns. So congrats on the crown for anybody that's got them. But let me scroll up here. Let's scroll up. I see Godzilla's Greaser, Brotimus Prime, Pika Robo, Yasoy Whack. Thank you. Yasoy Whack is here. Hamdinger, Fat Roller, Espresso Martini, Chronicling Mayhem, Hugo M, Dylan, no last name, just Dylan, who is a channel member, CJ, Giggity, Chikara. It's been a while since Chikara's been here. Maybe the time change for her over in Europe, wherever the fuck she lives. Panic Farm, Ruben, Momo with no profile picture. Momo with no pro. J Blicky Roadkill, Mr. Perlotti, Hose, A, Taco, Hamdinger. We got a lot of people up in here. Laughing Man is here. Laughing Man's a channel member, has been a channel member for a very long time. Andy Plays Games says, yo, hello. M Spock, Aaron Charman, Zumba Craft, yo, what's going on with news? The Brown Eyes of Mandal Orion, what are your thoughts on the Republic Commando books? In general, I like them. I especially like how they delve into, obviously, the clone shit and a little bit of Mandalorian culture and things like that obviously all got kind of ripped to pieces by Dave Filoni's Random Peaceful Mandalorians. I'm not as high on them as some people are. I don't think, the Republic Commando books, they're just fucking amazing. They're pretty good. I like the Republic Commando books overall. Love those books, says Chronicling Mayhem. I would definitely recommend them. They're not in my list of my favorite Star Wars book series. You know what I mean? I don't put them in that level. Definitely should be read. Wu-Tang Dan, The Beast. Ryan, have you read Darth Maul Shadowhunter? Darth Maul Shadowhunter is fucking awesome, actually. I read that book when I was really young because it came out during the... I feel like it came out in the while the prequels were still coming out. Early 2000s, probably. Darth Maul Shadow Hunter release date. Let's see if I can find it. Darth Maul Shadow Hunter. God, I fucking love that cover too. 2001. 2001. Michael Reeves. Yeah, I forgot Michael Reeves published that. It's really good. It's it essentially takes place just a little bit before it takes place just a little bit before Phantom Menace. Obviously it'll take place after because, Darth Maul dies and stays dead. He never gets resurrected, never does anything else. Anything contrary to that must have just been like a bad dream that somebody had. Cool hearing Sam Witwer do an audiobook for Shadowhunter. Yeah, Sam Witwer really up in arms, really very supportive of people burning down the city of LA. I suppose that's not surprising. Joe Mann says, what up, Brian? Looks like your Bears and my Ravens will get to hand Rodgers some more losses this season. Can't wait for the incoming 9-8 Steelers. 10-7 maybe this year. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what they can do. But yeah, I mean, I'm not thrilled about us having to play the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. We don't have a great history with Aaron Rodgers, just to be honest. Greedy Graffiti. Happy Sunday fun day, Ryan and chat. I'm drinking Foster's, Australian for mid-beer. You know, I don't think that I might have had Foster's one time, but I don't really remember anything about it. I just know that Australian people fucking hate it when you think that Foster's is like a good representation for them. You know what I mean? At least in my opinion. Mission Impossible holding up well. I mean, it is. Mission Impossible is holding up well. And if this had a normal budget, we'd probably be sitting here being like, wow, this could go on to make, $750 million potentially worldwide. Unfortunately, with the massive budget that it has no fucking chance of recouping anything. And, when I give fucking Disney and Marvel or whatever for their bloated budgets and movies that don't make their money back, I have to say the same thing about that one. The difference is I probably enjoyed this a lot more than a lot of the Marvel movies that tend to lose a lot of money. But it does feel like they were like, Tom Cruise, you've made us so much money. You can have whatever you want and do anything you want. And obviously we know the COVID factor played in, and they were one of the first because they filmed these things back to back. Basically, they were one of the first productions to start up with COVID protocols in place. And these are not people that are green screening everything. These aren't people that can like fake that they're doing it. Tom Cruise jumping 16 times out of a plane. Did you guys see that shit? Tom Cruise is insane in a good way, right? Tom Cruise is insane in the best way possible. We've seen all the ridiculous stunts that he's done and all of this stuff throughout his history, especially when it comes to the Mission Impossible movies. And he always puts out behind the scenes stuff of these stunts and what goes into them. He put this out a couple days ago as Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is, if this was a movie that had a normal budget that wasn't $400 million, we'd be sitting there and be like, hey, yeah, nice, good return for an action movie. This thing has a chance to use $750 million worldwide. Not exactly the case when it comes to this one because they spent so much. But you can see the love and dedication that goes on behind the scenes. There is a scene in the movie where a Tom Cruise parachute catches on fire after he jumps out of a burning plane. And what went into this one tiny shot, look at all the effort that goes into this, 1 or 2 second shot in the movie.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to be deploying. If this is twisted while it's burning, I'm going to be spinning and burn. I have to kick out of the twist and then ignite it to get 10 seconds.
Start soaking the parachute.
We're going to submerge the parachute into the avgas, soak up the fuel, so when the parachute opens and ignites it, it'll hold fuel and explode.
For this shot, what are we looking for?
It's quite literally establish the objects in your hand and burn the parachute. The more up we're looking, the more the burn we'll get.
Yep. We're going to be real smart. I'm not saying be risky. We don't take risks, obviously.
So what dish? You're going to have to set for this and look up and ignite it.
Okay, let's go.
3, 2, 1, stop!
Yeah, so they did 16 shots of that. And again, this was to get what, in my estimation, in the movie was probably like maybe 2 or 3 seconds of screen time. Like, that's what that was for. And I saw Guinness Book of World Records tweeted out, like, he officially set the record for most jumps catching your parachute on whatever that is. I don't know who the record holder was before. Why was that even a record? Why is that in the Guinness Book of World Records? I don't know. But this stuff is all real. Like, this stuff is all real that he does, which is just wild. And I admire the dedication that it takes to do this and bring this to people in theaters to see it on screen. And certainly when you spend as much money as they ended up with, a massive budget overages for this movie, it has no hopes of making its money back. And that does have to be mentioned in the conversation. But fuck, man, I love it. It's not just green screen bullshit and bad CGI. It's a dude putting his life on the line 16 times in one day to get one shot. That's just crazy. The man's in his 60s. Some days I don't even want to get out of bed. And Tom Cruise is like 61 or 62 years old or something. The dude's wild. But it's wild in a good way. It's wild in a good way. All right. Where are we? Gabriel Knight Andor's Disney Space Wars Communist Manifesto seems to really strike a chord with Hamas sympathizers, commies, and LA insurrectionists. There is 100%. There's a lot of, especially when it comes to the Palestine thing, which is funny. I do think for a lot of this stuff, people are going to take whatever they think and they internalize it and they say that must be what that's representing, when in reality it could be a pretty good like allegory for a shit ton of fucking revolutions over time, whether the American, whether the French, like whatever, you name it. But you're not wrong, especially for the Gorman massacre sequence. All you had was just people being like, they made this about Palestine. They made this, like, people that support Palestine and the Palestinians saying this is what they meant to say. And then I also saw some Palestinian supporters criticizing it because they felt it was actually a critique of the Palestinians and was sympathetic to the Israeli point of view. Like some of the same people arguing with each other. All of them have Palestine flags in their bio, which is nuts. I got something to say about Andor a little bit later on, actually. Representation, baby. Representation. Greedy Graffiti for 199. I've heard someone say it's like their PBR. Hey, man, I like PBR. I'll drink PBR. Now, I wouldn't say to somebody, this is the best beer ever. But there's nothing wrong with that. Wu-Tang Dan, have a great day, man. Cheers for the laughs. Thanks, Wu-Tang Dan. Probably won't happen, but Aaron getting his last Super Bowl win with the team he got his first Super Bowl win against would be something. Remain blessed, Ryan and chat. I think this year's very important for his legacy after what we saw happen with the Jets. I definitely think that. SWA for 5. Do you think the DCCW shows should have ended with Infinite Earths? I watched most of every show. It probably should have ended earlier. Wherever place you think it should have ended, it probably should have been earlier. Arrow turning into just every single goddamn person in the world having powers or being a vigilante or whatever was super annoying. Team Flash started to get really annoying. Supergirl, after Should have ended after season 2, probably. I watched so many of the Arrowverse Legends of Tomorrow. I watched like all of that shit. There was just too much, and it went on for too long. I still maintain, though, that the first several seasons of Arrow and the first couple seasons of The Flash were really good. I really enjoyed them. I liked that they were in a shared universe, but they also each had their own individual tone. I like Arrow was obviously a little bit darker and more serious, whereas The Flash was a little bit more kind of heartwarming type of thing, like a little bit softer element to that show. And I thought they worked really good together as a pairing. But then we got a million different people involved and a million different superheroes, and it just went on for too long. The trans hero in Supergirl is when I fucking noped out. Which means I sat through the illegal immigration fucking arc, which means I sat through the Black Jimmy Olsen, and how hard it is as a black man fucking thing. I sat through a lot of shit. Finally, fuck it. I just can't do it anymore. And there was the last season of Arrow where they did a lot of the flash forward stuff, like stuff that was going on in the future. Also, I finished reading Jedi Trial, and I recently started burning through the KOTOR comics. Nice. Do you have the I assume you got some sort of omnibus or collection of the KOTOR comics. Those can get pricey. Hemorrhoid hurts. 24 homebrews in fridge. 600 in shed just in case. 600 homebrews? Bro. That's a lot. I've never done it myself. I had a buddy who did it, and I used to, go over to his place, hang out, drink beers while he was making it, and I learned a little bit about it. But I just never had the dedication to really give a shit. Yeah, like to put in the effort to do it. I'm just gonna go buy a fucking beer. Like rather than do all this stuff, have to wait for the process for it to like ferment and everything, and then get it. And maybe it's not any good. Maybe I don't fucking like it. I just never, I don't have the patience for that shit. I don't have the patience. Yo, Ryan, what happened to Bud Light? Can you still buy it? What do you mean, can you still buy it? There was massive backlash 3 years ago or whatever that was because of Dylan Mulvaney. But, I mean, obviously their sales suffered for it. But what do you mean, can you still buy it? Of course it's still out there. It's still one of the most popular beers. But their reputation and their purchases did take a hit because of that entire thing. I have never liked Bud Light. I've never been a Bud Light drinker. If I'm gonna have like a light beer of like the named light beers that you know of, I'm usually doing Miller Lite. Bud Light was usually last on my list. So they have tried, especially over the last several months, they've tried some new marketing stuff. I think, isn't Shane Gillis in one of those marketing campaigns where they just got guys sitting around being dudes? That's kind of what they're going for. Kind of opposite of dude who's pretending to be a woman promoting their brand. But for me, Miller, if I'm going to do a light beer, Miller Lite is what I would get. Not a big fan of Coors Light either. It's pretty much Miller Lite or get something regular, like a regular beer. I do like Coors, the banquet beer, though. I like Coors Original a lot, actually. I really like Coors. And whenever I watch Cobra Kai, it just reminds me of how much I like Coors, and I have to go out and get more. Coors is good. I honestly don't mind just like Budweiser. If I'm just gonna sit, if I'm on a golf course and they've only got like a handful of things, I don't mind fucking Bud Heavy, to be honest with you. I'm not picky when it comes to alcohol at all. Killian's Irish Red, I'll drink the fuck out of that. I'll do a Guinness. I'll do freaking Modelo. I don't care. Ryan, what are your thoughts on this emoji? Is it a person in a scooter? Blue Moon? Yeah, I do Blue Moon. Fat Tire. Fat Tire. I'll drink pretty much anything. I am not like, there are some like there's some porters that I like on occasion. For the most part, if I'm gonna be drinking a lot, I'm probably not gonna drink beer. I'm probably just gonna drink fucking whiskey or bourbon if I'm drinking to drink. Because I don't know, man. Beer just fills me up quicker than whiskey does. But I will pretty much drink any kind of alcohol. Johnny the Whiz Kid, sup, Ryan? I'm gonna keep begging you to watch Outlaw Star. It's funny, Johnny, because I don't know if it's up here. I still have Outlaw Star. It must be downstairs. I must have put it downstairs, but I was looking at the box just the other day. So I will keep trying to remind myself as well. Thank you, Johnny the Whiz Kid. Sergeant Sodomy. ICE needs to stop deporting Indian gas station start deporting Indian gas station workers instead of the Mexicans. What's going on in LA is wild, and I don't want to make this stream about that, but I don't know what's going on in terms of today. I saw a lot of the shit that went down yesterday, and obviously, obviously, it's fucking wild, and a lot of it pisses me off. So, I hope it doesn't continue to accelerate. SWA for 5. Dreamer was the trans hero. Arrow was probably the easiest for me to watch. There you go. Almost had an as moment with Dreamer. It kept making references to its past life till I looked up the actor. Thank God for my internal spidey sense. So you almost jerked it to the trans superhero Dreamer. Good thing you didn't. Jose Taco for $2 over on Streamlabs. Ryan, you had one person with your last name fight in the Civil War on the Union side. I wonder how many Jeremy had. I don't know. If I'm being honest, I have no idea. I have no idea if I had anyone in my history fight in the Civil War on either side. Based on where I grew up and where I know my family's mostly from, like at least a couple generations back, I would assume Union, but I don't really fucking know. But thank you for looking it up for me. I appreciate that. One. They might not be related to me, although there ain't many Kinels in the world. There's not too many Kinels in the world. So, I don't fucking know. One in the Union Army. I've always been a winner. At least it's not Kimmel. Yeah, thank God it's not Kimmel. Are you going to see Ballerina? I meant to go see it yesterday, and I got so caught up and busy with some errands I wasn't able to. I will go see it. Ballerina box office, not particularly impressive. And really, in my opinion, they kind of this was their weekend. It needed to do probably better than it did, both internationally and here. I think it probably made what, 55? Is that the total number? 55 million global. And if you're going to do a John Wick spinoff, let's see. Yeah, 51. Sorry, 51 million total. If you're going to do a John Wick spinoff, it can't have the budget of a John Wick movie. Right? So if your budget for John Wick 4 was 110 million, whatever the budget was for that, you can't, $90 million can't be your budget for Ballerina. It should probably be in the $50 million area. And I don't think there's any way this movie's going to be successful. Even if it is a banger, because it's a spin-off of the John Wick franchise. And yeah, John Wick's in it a little bit. We've seen it in the trailers. We know that. That's not exactly a spoiler. But I don't know. I like Ana de Armas. I like the John Wick series. I'm gonna go see it, give it a shot, and let people know what I think. But I just don't know if it has any hope to be successful. I've heard from people that it's pretty good. It's entertaining enough. But it does feel like a spin-off, and you're not as engaged with this character as you are with John Wick. I heard some interesting things about how, they acknowledge that men and women are different, that if you're going to be a woman, you can't fight like a man. You can't go up there and go toe to toe. You're going to be out leveraged. You're going to be out strength, and you have to learn to fight differently and use different things to your advantage, because you can't just go up and fight like a dude or you're going to get fucking destroyed. It's literally fight like a girl because you can't fight like a man type of thing, which I found interesting. No Mobland, what to watch? Suggestions? I actually turned on Game of Thrones recently. Today I was watching the first couple episodes. Typically for Game of Thrones, I watch the first 4 seasons and then I stop. Maybe I'll do a full rewatch because I haven't done that in a while, but I still say the first several seasons are really fucking good. Because I've been re-listening to the books lately. I'm in Feast for Crows right now. And so I'm in Game of Thrones mood. I'm going to go watch that shit. Filthy Casual for 5. Ballerina was surprisingly good. Insert shilling for my videos. My Vols are done in the College World Series. Won the Natty last year. Can't complain. I'm sorry to hear that, Filthy Casual, but insert shilling for your video. If you did a video on it, go check out Filthy Casual. He apparently did a video for Ballerina. So if you want to get a review from someone who watched it instead of someone who's just heard things like me, go check that out. Joe Man for 5. Hey, Ryan, genuine question, not throwing shade. Would you consider 8 or 9 wins a successful season, especially with your schedule? Regardless, good luck. Talking about the Chicago Bears. They have a really rough schedule. They have a very, very tough schedule. Not only, obviously, NFC North, which is arguably the best division in football, but they play the other arguable best division in football, which is the AFC North. So playing the Ravens, playing the Steelers, playing the Cincinnati Bengals. Thank God we got the Browns too because of that. But I think it's going to be hard. Like, I think 9 wins, I would 100% consider that a successful season. 1,000%. I'm worried. I'm worried based on the schedule. I really am. I am not an overhyper when it comes to my team. I am a doom and gloomer always when it comes to this team. Seen too much. Been through too much shit. Had too much heartbreak. You can't get me excited. You can't get me excited. Not going to happen. It can't happen. I've been through that. Been hurt too many times. Never again. I want to talk. Somebody mentioned Andor. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Because let's I wanted to go to I want to pull up one more thing before I talk about Andor and all of the diversity. All of the diversity. Representation. John Boyega representation. I think it's yeah. John Boyega critiques Hollywood. That's not a good article, though. That's not a good article. This will work. This will work for what I need to do. I think, anyway. All right. Sorry. Usually I got everything pulled up, but I kind of last second thought about something like this. Last second thought about something like this. All right, let's talk about some Disney Star Wars. Over the past several years, as Lucasfilm and Disney have continued to preach about representation, they've seen their fan base fleeing their product. Disney Star Wars is in an absolutely horrible place. But so many of the actors and producers and directors involved, all they can do is preach about how great it is, about how much diversity they've brought to Star Wars, because now people can see themselves being represented. John Boyega, not that long ago, even though he used to criticize Disney and Lucasfilm, now he was going after the fan base because, you know, it wasn't okay that they didn't like the fact that John Boyega just came in there. John Boyega said racist Star Wars fans, you know, couldn't accept him, even though they'd had plenty of black characters in the series before. It was wild, but it was all, you know, saying how grateful he was to finally represent black people in Star Wars so people can see themselves in Star Wars. Well, apparently Diego Luna feels the exact same way about Andor and his role as Cassian Andor in Disney Star Wars. Diego Luna on the importance of representation in Andor. And there was a lot of representation in Andor, and I've said it multiple times. I'll say it again. I think that we've seen some of the best stuff that Disney Star Wars has ever done in Andor, albeit it still does have a lot of problems. But one of the things that was glaringly obvious with Andor was the need to be like, hey, look, we've got a lot of representation in this. They talked about it with a lot of the cast and crew in Rogue One, even way back then, and they talked about it for Andor. Diego Luna saying the same thing. I grew up watching Star Wars, and no one looked like me. First of all, Diego Luna, if you didn't speak with a fucking accent, I don't think anyone would know that you were even Hispanic, just being honest with you. There was no way I could picture myself as part of that universe. And today it's different. If you're young and you have a Latino background, you see Star Wars and you go like, wow, that universe represents me too. And that's kind of cool. We're going to go through this entire article where he talks about Gold Derby, Andor's Diego Luna on changing landscape of Star Wars. Now that universe represents me too. It's weird that 20, 30, 40 years ago, there was just a lot of fucking people that love Star Wars all around the world. White people, black people, Latinos, Asians, everybody. They love Star Wars because they thought it was an awesome story. But now that we've gotten into this area of these people bragging about, you know what, we need something that represents this person and this group of people, the audience has gone the fuck away. In fact, despite the praise that Andor is receiving, it basically has the lowest ratings of any Disney Star Wars show. When you're talking a per episode basis or a per minute basis, it performs worse than The Acolyte. That's not just me bullshitting, that's reality. I mean, when we look right now at the Nielsen streaming ratings, we are now through the third week for Andor ratings. This tracks behind about a month, so we're getting Nielsen ratings as they come for Andor. 830 minutes watched, which on the face of it is like, wow, that's really impressive. Look how high it is up there. You also have to understand that they released 3-hour-long episodes to get to that 830 minutes watched. Not even talking about the potential backlog from people rewatching season 1 or rewatching other episodes, but let's just say all 830 minutes are coming just from people watching those 3 episodes. When you compare it to the numbers we saw for The Acolyte, when they released individual episodes, 370 minutes watched. What was the finale for The Acolyte? 335 minutes watched. Only releasing 1 episode that was significantly shorter runtime. So if you actually factor that in, fewer people are watching Andor, or were watching Andor, than watch The Acolyte. That's not bullshitting. That's just the reality. You only had 1 episode of The Acolyte come out. It was like 40 minutes long, and they're averaging around 330, 340 million minutes watched. Whereas Andor, it's not 3 times that, despite their episode lengths being longer, and despite them releasing 3 episodes at once, 3 hours of content at once. But Diego Luna is very happy with the representation. Let's get into this entire representation thing here. Star Wars has been largely set in more of a mythic fairy tale realm, and you guys have moved it nicely into an allegorical way of telling the stories, using Star Wars that kind of vehicle. What did that mean to you to shift the paradigm on how to tell a Star Wars story and see it hit with the audience the way that it has? Well, it's just the audience keeps changing, keeps growing, and keeps growing in diversity. The audience for Star Wars is not growing. In fact, as you're pushing more representation, whether it's the queer representation, whether it's you being so happy to be a Latino or whatever it is, the audience is going away. They're fleeing. There are fewer people that are excited for Star Wars now than there may have ever been in the history of the franchise. The audience is not growing despite you trying to represent everyone or whatever the fuck this is. They're going away. They're moving away. You can't argue that. You can't escape that. But this is what you're trying to tell yourself. It's interesting that today there's room to do things in the Star Wars universe that 20 years ago were not even possible. I mean, having a character like Cassian, for myself as an actor to be involved in a Star Wars show, I grew up watching Star Wars and no one looked like me. Yet you were watching it and why is this always the case? I grew up a massive fan, but the big problem was nobody looked like me. Is that what you said when you saw Luke Skywalker blow up the fucking Death Star and you're sitting there clapping and cheering, yeah, fuck yeah, but nobody looks like me in this movie? Or did people love the story? It's just absolutely wild that the focus still is on someone's skin color or country of origin or who they like to fuck or whatever, instead of what it really comes down to is people being invested in stories, not because someone looks like me. That's ridiculous. If that was the case, why don't all these movies that just have, there's a lot of white people in this country. All the movies that come out that have predominantly white people, why don't they go support those movies? They look like them, right? That means you can understand, you can be represented, you can see yourself. So all those must just be successful. That's obviously not the way it fucking works. But anyway, there was no way I could picture myself as part of that universe. And today it's different. If you're young and you have a Latino background, you see Star Wars, you go like, wow, that universe represents me too. And that's kind of cool. Maybe the focus should be, and I do think that Andor, I think that Andor is far better than The Acolyte and Ahsoka, just being honest. Still think it has its problems, still think it has room to criticize it 100% for some of the decisions that they've made. But the idea that still this is what we're focused on a show that on a per episode basis, on the amount of people that are actually watching, actually had fewer people watching than The Acolyte, you're focused on, wow, look, we're just so happy to do this. We're so happy to represent the shrinking Star Wars fandom. Star Wars is in a horrible place. It's never been worse. Yet you're saying that by inserting a bunch of diversity into something, whether forced or not, that's growing the audience. Sorry to tell you, it's not. It's had the opposite effect. Because as you've been focused on that, in general, the storytelling for Star Wars has gone completely down the toilet. And that's why fans are leaving. Not because they don't have anyone that represents them or they don't have someone that looks like them, but because by and large, the stories that are coming out of Lucasfilm, most people consider them to be garbage. And even something like Andor, which is getting praised by a lot of people, no one's watching it. Excuse me. Nobody looked like me. Diego Luna, again, if Diego Luna didn't speak with a Spanish accent, you would probably be like, oh, I just walked by a white dude on the street. I don't know. Say it louder for the people in the back. Louder. Where the hell did I leave off? It's Sunday. It is Sunday. Meta PC and our code RK Outpost. You can go get yourself a Meta PC. Use the link in the description below. Use code RK Outpost for a discount. Go check it out. Thanks for the reminder, Alex, as always. Angst Kitten, considering the Harry Potter show has been in development since 2021 and is getting delayed to 2027 before filming has even started, do you think there's any chance they can stick to their 10-year plan? I think 10 years is reasonably achievable. Obviously, the lion's share of a lot of the production work is going in before they start filming the first episode, right? Building Privet Drive, whatever sets they're going to use, whether they're going to reuse some that we've seen before or building their own stuff or whatever. A lot of that, obviously, they're not going to have to do that. Say, like, once they're done building Privet Drive, they're never going to have to do that for any of the next 7 seasons. Same thing with any of the sets that they're using on Hogwarts, whatever like that. They're going to be able to reuse that shit. So I do think that saves you a lot of time production-wise. But the reality is they're going to have to. They're going to have to do them within 10 years. Otherwise, your kids are aged out. And your Dumbledore dies. Which he might anyway. John Lithgow's kind of old. I think once they actually start and click filming, I think they're going to be able to do it. But it's tough. There's a lot of difficulty working with these young actors. I actually like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff we got to see from Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. And they're going to have a lot of the same challenges. And they were very lucky to have Christopher Columbus, who works so well with kids from some of the movies that he's done in the past. And he knew how to get the most out of them and set them up for success when a lot of them, just like now, were very inexperienced. And also with children, you have a much smaller window in which you can film with kids, right? There are certain restrictions that they can only film, so long during the day. You also have the school and stuff that they need to go to. That's going to be on set. All the kids are going to go to school on set, but there needs to be room within the schedule for them to do those things as well. It is a massive undertaking. A massive undertaking. Joe Mann for 5. Tell me about it. I need Lamar to lock in for the postseason. Excellent regular season, then unnecessary turnovers. We'll see. Yeah, Lamar can't get it done in the postseason, man. Can't get it done. I'd be happy to just get there. CJ, why did Disney reduce representation by getting rid of characters Star Wars fans loved? Like Shala Nelprin, Belinda Kalenda, Salazen, and others. They didn't want to use those stories. They just wanted to bastardize them. They just wanted to bastardize them. Under Armour Gamer, I was waiting for the 007 game for years, and I think the new Bond looks awful. Also, the Rams chose Adams over Cup because Adams was just better last year. As a Cup fan, I was sad. I think that the injuries are 100%, I think, a big factor in why they chose to bring Adams in and let Cup go. If all other things, like, if you could guarantee a healthy season from Cooper Cup and probably multiple ones after that, maybe you're looking at a different story. Got the hiccups. Bo Briscoe. Sorry I'm late. Blame ass. What are we bitching about today? I mean, some things I'm not bitching about. I need a drink. What's with the hiccups all year, Ryan? I mean, honestly, I get, I don't know if it's been all year. I get hiccups a lot. Typically, it is when I am streaming by myself. And I think the reason is because I talk so quickly, and especially when I'm like getting into something or doing something I'm going to cut away a video for. I think when I'm talking really fast like this, and then I take like quick breaths, I honestly think that's what it is. I think it's because I'm talking so quickly and I inhale really quick to get a breath in between shit. I think that's why I get the hiccups so often when I am solo live streaming. Because it doesn't happen nearly as often on like most streams that I do with other people. It can be symptomatic of a brain tumor. I don't believe you. But maybe. Here's to hoping. Here's to hoping. Ugh. Hi, Kira. I'm watching a bunch of Korean shows, and Godzilla -1 is my favorite movie the last few years. I'm a 6'4" white guy. Just needs to be good. Yeah. Hi, Kira. How did you like that? You weren't able to see yourself being represented. How could you possibly like that? Doesn't make any sense. East Coast Toasty Boy. All Marvel movies are getting worse now. It's almost like everyone finally caught on with the quality and effort that's not being put into them. Well, I mean, like I put a video out about this earlier today, but we have to address it here too. Just because it's so, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull up my old video about this. Pull it up. Fantastic. Whoops. Filter videos. Fantastic. Here it is. This video right here. Perfect. This will work. I talked about this already today, so there's obviously no need to like clip this out or do anything like that or whatever. But the push for the MCU was not something that happened by accident. It wasn't just happenstance that they decided to push a lot of these female characters that maybe people didn't care about as much into the forefront, or these characters that were created only a decade ago and have failed in the comics over and over again, that they decided to push them. It wasn't by accident. It was very intentional. Kevin Feige in 2018, right? June 26, 2018, is when Kevin Feige made the declaration that he was really pushing representation in the MCU, specifically that he wanted to get to the point where there were more female heroes than there were male heroes. And they would go on to attempt to do that, clearly. And so when you continue to see female characters that get shows or movies or whatever. The inclusion of America Chavez in Multiverse of Madness, Ironheart as a character, all this stuff. It is all very, very fucking intentional. Which is why 2 years ago, when we first heard the rumors about Fantastic Four, before we even knew it was called Fantastic Four First Steps, and it was just Fantastic Four, and we were still looking to see who was going to get cast and like all of this stuff, there was a report that was out there. Sue Storm, rumored to be the MCU reboot's lead character. Kind of made sense based off everything we'd seen. Now, Sue Storm is a super important fucking character, super powerful character. I believe one of the first real female superheroes that Marvel ever had. And obviously a very important part of the Fantastic Four and of Marvel Comics in general in their history. But she's not the leader of the Fantastic Four. She's just not. Has there been a couple moments throughout the history of, fucking 70 years of comics or however long it's been where she maybe took a more upfront role a handful of times because of this or that? Yeah, sure. But we know that Reed Richards is the leader of the team, the leader of the Fantastic Four. Sue Storm does a great job keeping everybody together, making sure that if somebody's got a problem, she identifies it, can help to negate any problems, like stuff like that. Of course she is. Is she the leader of the team? No, it's Reed Richards. But when this came out at the height of the MCU, everyone's like, you know what? Just a rumor, but who knows? Here you have it. Sue Storm is the leader of the team in the Fantastic Four First Steps. If you do go back through the comics, you realize Sue Storm is arguably the leader of the Fantastic Four, because without Sue Storm, everything falls apart, says executive producer Grant Curtis. Is that what being the leader of the team is? Because if that's the case, if Ben Grimm just fucking up and left, the team would fall apart too. Right? If Reed up and fucking walked away, if he wasn't there, wouldn't the team fall apart? Of course it would. So like that's such a silly thing to equate to. That means you're the leader. Sue Storm is very important. The team, they are very important to each other. They are like a fucking family. That's kind of the point of those comic books. But this is what Marvel wanted to do. And if you've seen some of the leaks surrounding this, you might know how it ends in a girl boss team up. And I guess we can't really be surprised with this shit anymore at this point in time. And it's funny, this was, I think I was in a temporary background then when I made this video, but this is that article. Let's see, when was this? August 4th, almost 2 years ago. Marvel wants Fantastic Four to go full MCU. Sue Storm is the lead for Kevin Feige. And it turns out that rumor had some validity to it, because here we are. Sue Storm, leader of the Fantastic Four. And we saw a lot of the stories about oh my gosh, the first day ticket sales. All these sites are crashing. It's breaking records. It's like right now, based on the very little pre-sale ticket data we have, like $125 to $130 million opening weekend, which certainly much better than Thunderbolts or Captain America Brave New World, as it should be tracking. But you're talking about a movie that's basically making 50% more opening weekend than Captain America Brave New World did. Not even 50%, but let's just say 50%. If that holds and everything would be equal, and who knows? Who knows would have the same hold? Who knows? Whatever. But all that being equal, that would equate to about a $600 million box office movie. Which, for this movie, Marvel's summer tentpole, the lead up to Avengers Doomsday, probably be considered pretty catastrophic for them. A massive disappointment. So I don't buy a lot of this bullshit about the sites going down and all of this stuff, because quite frankly, when those reports were out there, I was able to log on Fandango fine. I was able to log on AMC fine. You look around right now, it's not like it's hard to get tickets for this thing that's not coming out for another month and a half. So I don't know if it was just artificially generated. 12 reports of Fandango being down is enough to say the site's crashing. I don't know. It just 600 million isn't a disappointment. Are you fucking kidding me? $600 million for, look, we have not heard the official budget for Fantastic Four yet, but if it's similar to some of the other Marvel, summer releases that they've had over the past couple of years, you're looking at $200 to $250 million. The marketing budgets for those movies, specifically the summer tentpoles, have been $150 million. So you're talking they likely have 350 to 400 wrapped up in this. Let's say 350 million. That means 700 million is your break even. So yeah, it would be a massive disappointment, you dumb fucking retard. And even if that wasn't the break even, the idea that this is the last movie that's building hype towards Avengers Doomsday, and that's what you get for your summer fucking blockbuster, yeah, of course. You're telling me that making $150 million less than a dog shit movie like Thor: Love and Thunder, which was an embarrassment, a failure, and lost them money, wouldn't be a disappointment? Get the fuck out of here, you no profile having bitch. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course it would be a disappointment for a movie like this. Now, why are you so mad at what I said? Well, I'm not mad at what you said. I'm mad that like retards like you can't comprehend why 600 million would be a disappointment. And that's part of the problem. It's why so many of these Axis media articles are able to so easily trick people into thinking that, ooh, Thunderbolts opening weekend, that's actually really good for Marvel. Captain America Brave New World, that's actually really good for Marvel. It's because people like you exist. You're probably one of those people that saw the Captain America Brave New World $89 million opening weekend at the box office and saw an Access Media article that said, wow, look how impressive this is. And you were like, wow, that's impressive. Well, I was one of the people that's saying, are you fucking kidding me? That is horrendous. And this movie's going to lose a fuck ton of money. And then 4 weeks later, we get the final results. And all of the same places are now writing articles that said, what happened to the Captain America box office? Another Marvel disappointment. How did this happen? That's what bothers me. That's what bothers me. Like, how do I know? Maybe I'm fucking smarter than you. Maybe I retain knowledge better than you. That might be it. Now, if $600 million, right? Say Ballerina at a $90 million production budget. And I don't know if we've officially heard the marketing for Ballerina, but even say, $50 to $75 million marketing budget for that movie. If that movie hit $600 million, fucking, that'd be a massive success for that type of movie, for what they put into it, considering it's a spin-off. That would be huge. So $600 million is going to be considered a lot different depending on which movie it's applied to. Mission Impossible, Final Reckoning, which I rather liked. If that ends up at $600 million, massive, huge, mega disappointment, because they spent so much fucking money on it. It's all about perspective. Ballerina was about, I think 80 to 90 million is what I saw for the production budget for Ballerina, which isn't excessive, but when you consider that, I mean, John Wick 4, I think, was $110 million budget. When you're doing a spinoff, about a different character within the John Wick universe, I think 90 million is too much to spend on something like that. And I do hope it's good. I'm going to go see it. I'm going to let you guys know for myself, what I think of it. But just from a financial perspective, especially in a very packed summer, I just don't know, man. How to Train Your Dragon comes out next week. That's going to be pretty big. I think that's going to be very big. I said it when it was first announced, when we first saw that trailer, that I think it's going to be pretty big. I don't know if I don't think it like $1 billion or anything, but I think it's going to be pretty big. All right. Where was I? I get so distracted by retarded people. I am very sorry. My deepest and most sincere apologies. Pilgrim Media, Black Snape and the identity politics will ruin IP. I got a story about Black Snape. Did I have I don't believe, but I'm seeing it everywhere today. Well, yesterday and today. So I have to talk about it at least, even if to say that I think this is bullshit. Little Orphan Funkhauser, which rival teams do you hate the most and why? The Packers. Because they beat the shit out of us for basically the entire time I've been alive, or at least can remember football. So obviously I hate the Packers. I hate IU with a passion. I'm a Purdue Boilermaker guy. I fucking hate IU with a passion. For the Cubs, because we play the Cardinals like 20 times a year. So I dislike the Cardinals. Fuck the Cardinals. I don't have the same burning, passionate hatred for them that I do for the Packers, probably because every single Packer game like matters, as opposed to there's like 20 games you play against the Cardinals. Fuck the White Sox though. Fucking bunch of losers. Yeah. Bo Briscoe, they announced Sue Storm is the leader of this particular Fantastic Four. Now Drinker will get more views on his recent video than the actual movie will get. Well, we'll see. But yeah. I mean, what's the average ticket cost? Even if we say $20, which is less than that, but still talking about millions, like tens of millions of people going to these things somehow. Luthen, I sacrificed everything. What you sacrificed, the elevators you just walk around letting people die, trash character, Wedge is way better. I don't think Luthen is a trash character at all. I actually think he's the best character that Disney has made in Star Wars. With that being said, there's 50 fucking characters that I could probably name off the top of my head, including Wedge, that I think are much more better developed and better characters. Now, if people haven't experienced those, they probably have no idea and just only have the reference point of Wedge from the movies, which is an incomplete reference of him as a character. But yeah, so I don't agree that Luthen is like the best character ever and is only below Vader or whatever. But it's because I've actually read all that shit and know all that shit. But I don't think that Luthen is like a trash character. I think he's the best character that Disney Star Wars has created. Which certainly you're working with a low bar there, but I don't think he's trash. The Raven and Writing Desk, member for 24 months. Thank you, Raven and Writing Desk. Sleazy for $5. Works kicking my ass. Been a while. Take some shekels. Thank you, Sleazy. I saw a stream you did the other night. You didn't say anything in chat or whatever, but I saw a stream you did the other night that I thought was really fucking funny, just because of the topics you were talking about and who you were mentioning. So shout out to Sleazy. Go check out his channel. And Sleazy, when he can make it, if you are a top tier member over on Locals, so if you're a top tier member over here, the tier 3 channel membership, or top tier master level over on Patreon, or give an equivalent over on Locals, you can join me along with Sleazy and some other people like Star Wars Marvel Purist, a couple other people on a stream once a month. So hopefully Sleazy will be there next month when we do it. Graham Robbins becomes a channel member. Thank you. Thank you, Graham. Jake the Movie Geek for $1.99. Are the Clone Wars Legends comics worth reading? I would call them the expanded universe comics, but In general, yes. In general, yes. It's not like my favorite comic book run, but there's some pretty good stuff in there. Doesn't really fit at all with the Clone Wars with TCW because it was written before that. But Alex McCarthy just had Taco Bell, got full on half a quesadilla. Taco Bell sounds really good right now, Alex. Not gonna lie. Graham Robbins. I know not having an avatar bugs the shit out of Ryan, so I'm keeping the F slur pink G just for him. Thanks, Graham. Yeah, people that have no profiles and are just a letter, super gay. Speaking of, Connor Akers, did you ever watch an episode of Phineas and Ferb? I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Phineas and Ferb, to be honest. I know about it. I remember seeing like commercials for it. I don't think I've ever seen a fucking episode. I don't think I have a care in the world about it. Deeds, Minnesota with a gifted membership. Thank you, Deeds. Shout out to Deeds, Minnesota. Always hanging out and supporting over on the Rumble side. Adrian Curry for $10. I don't think that's the real Adrian Curry. But Adrian Curry says, I came in to see you flame a total retard. Happy Sunday. Maybe it is the real Adrian Curry. Who knows? Maybe she's watching. But yes, retards do get flamed sometimes over here on this channel. It's been known to happen. Actually, I think it might actually be Adrian, now that I say that. So shout out Adrian Curry. She's sometimes hanging out in F&T chats, Geeks and Gamers, and apparently over on here as well. So shout out to Adrian Curry. Go follow her over on Twitter too. The reason I was like, I don't know if it's the real one or not is because it appears literally right next to someone who is donating as a fake me, which is why, and it's like the same format. So I wanted to make sure. But yeah, shout out Adrian. He's still seething in the chat, really? That's good. I'm glad he's mad. But yeah, a lot of people do not understand, like our boy Idris here, don't understand that, say something has a production budget of $200 million. If it has a total box office run of $300 million, someone like Idris would probably say, wow, look, it made $100 million. It's not exactly the way it works because guess what? Theaters get a cut of that box office revenue as well. Now, it varies over time and it varies from location. For instance, around the total run length of a movie. Domestically, you're going to get a little over 50%, sometimes in that 55, sometimes in that 53% area, somewhere right around there. That's the cut you're getting domestically from theaters. Internationally, like the studio gets even less than that. The studio only gets about 40 to 43% from international theaters. In China, it's way less. In China, you only get about 25% of the box office revenue goes back to the studio. So a good rule of thumb to make it simple and easy. And obviously for different movies, sometimes you do actually have to break out the calculator legit if something has a massive international and not a huge domestic. But overall, good rule of thumb is the studios only get about half of the box office theatrical revenue. So in this instance of spending $200 million on something, $300 million at the box office, you're only getting back 150. So you actually lost $50 million. And obviously that's going to vary based on production budget. You have to add marketing budget to that, all of these things, which simpletons like Idris don't understand that. Hello, let's see. Have you played Star Wars PC games? Of course I played Star Wars PC games. Bo Briscoe, what's your go-to Taco Bell order? Mike is the cheesy gordita crunch with the Dorito shell. My go-to Taco Bell order, 3 Doritos Locos Tacos. I usually do get a cheesy gordita crunch, just a regular one. I should probably do the Dorito shell, though. That does sound good. 2 of the beefy melt burritos. That's like my standard. That's what I'm going to get every time. 3 tacos, 2 burritos, cheesy gordita crunch. Sometimes I'll throw a chicken quesadilla in there, stuff like that. You never know. With a bunch of fire sauce. With a bunch of fire sauce. Bro, Adrian Curry is now roasting Gadris in the chat. Oh my God, this is good, actually. You never know what you're going to find on one of these streams. And again, I'm not saying all, but it does seem like 50% of the retardation is committed by 13% of the people in chat that don't have profile pictures. Oftentimes, it's just these people with a fucking letter. The lazy people that didn't even bother to put a picture on their Google account. So you got to watch out. Stone Cold didn't have Adrian Curry putting a chat retard in his place. But here we are. Here we are. Bro. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Well, there you go. You could also say that, Adrian. He's going to be very upset. But that does sound like a noble name. I do feel like that's a noble name worthy of someone of Idris's caliber. I did want to talk about something else, though. Let's get into things that I think are cool. We've talked a lot. We have talked a lot about the bullshit and stuff that I'm probably not going to like, stuff that pisses me off. I want to talk about something that actually made me smile when I heard it, even if what he's going to be in is absolute trash. I talked a little bit about this on FNT. But you guys might know I'm a pretty big Harry Potter fan. So this was interesting to me. As somebody that loves the Harry Potter series, both the books, and I have a lot of love for the movies as well, it put a smile on my face when I saw this news, even though it involves what I feel is like a miserable, terrible entry into Harry Potter lore, which is the Cursed Child. It is a cursed play. It should not exist. It's fake. There's no way that stuff ever happened. However, when I saw this headline, I thought it was pretty cool. Draco is back. Harry Potter star Tom Felton to reprise role on stage. So yes, Tom Felton, the actor who played Draco Malfoy in all of the Harry Potter movies, is going to be doing the play The Cursed Child on Broadway for like 19 weeks, I think. And of all of the people that have been, at least all the prominent people that have been involved in the Harry Potter franchise, he's one of the very few that has always, one, not thrown J.K. Rowling under the bus, and two, always been really happy to embrace it and talk about it and be excited to be involved with it and things like that, as opposed to a lot of other people that were part of this franchise. And now you can see J.K. Rowling pretty excited about that too, sharing the news, sharing this article here. Tom Felton is to reprise his role as the villainous Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter stage show on Broadway. It marks the first time that a star of the Harry Potter movies has joined the spin-off stage production Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. If you don't know anything about the Cursed Child and you're a Harry Potter fan, I am happy for you. you should stay away. About the only thing that could get me to actually go watch this would be an appearance by Tom Felton, something like this. But overall, I actually despise that play and what it represents and how it works and how it rewrites history. I hate so much about it. I hate so many things about the Cursed Child, and I don't want to get into it there. But I do think it's really cool that Tom Felton, at the same age as Draco when the play takes place at around 37 years old, I think it's really cool that he's doing this. And I wanted to share, he made a little post on Instagram too. Let's see if I can find that. I need the audio for it though as well. And he did make a post kind of announcing this and getting into the spirit of things here over on Instagram. Hope I don't get copyright for this, but who knows? That's always going to happen. Whatever.
Scared Potter.
Draco is back. Draco is back. And again, like I said, he's one of the reason J.K. Rowling is excited about this and thinks it's cool is because Tom Felton is one of the very few people that hasn't tried to throw her under the bus to gain like woke virtue signal points. You know, this is him, and he gets asked about it a lot. This is him just recently getting asked about this. Tom Felton says the controversy around J.K. Rowling's political views doesn't impact him.
How does the sort of Twitterverse controversy around J.K. Rowling's views impact you at all, or impact your work on the world at all?
No, I can't say it does. I'm not really that attuned to it. The only thing I always remind myself is that I've been lucky enough to travel the world. Here I am in New York, and I have not seen anything bring the world together more than Potter. And she's responsible for that, so I'm incredibly grateful.
That's kind of his answer that he gives all the time when he gets asked that question. Unlike a lot of the other people whose lives she changed, whose lives and careers she made, who immediately went and tried to throw her under the bus for having an opinion that isn't even controversial. So I was excited to see this, even if he's going to be in a show, in a play that I think is a very poor entry to the Harry Potter franchise. I think it's really cool that he's invested in doing it and wants to do it, and that he's coming back. Draco Malfoy is officially back. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. It would almost like, I think I would sit through The Cursed Child if Tom Felton was there. I think I would. For you guys that don't know, The Cursed Child involves the children of Draco and Harry and them going to school together. Albus and Scorpius. What a fucking great name. What a great fucking evil name, right? Scorpius Malfoy. It also involves a love child of Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange. It involves somehow getting access to time turners and using them in ways that wouldn't actually be possible to use them. And going back to like the most important moments that we saw in the books and them trying to change little aspects of it and kind of ruining the timeline. Like all these things that make absolutely no sense within the framework of how the magic in the world works, and also just terrible ideas in general to try to. And I do feel like they destroy some characters along the way. I feel like Ron's treated like shit. I feel like Cedric Diggory is treated like shit. It's really bad. It is on the same level as like the fan fiction that's out there on Harry Potter. Harry, yeah, you're right. Harry is too. Harry is kind of destroyed too. And then at the end, the way they fucking use like the blanket or whatever. Now, I have heard that the play in and of itself is actually very is like a good production, if that makes sense, in terms of the set pieces and the things that they do. I've heard that it's a very good production. The story is just retarded. Ryan, would you bang Bellatrix Lestrange? Yeah, probably, yeah. Is that even a question? Is that even a question? The monetization meter is still running on Gadris, is it? The time turners were a dumb thing to introduce, even if that book was pretty cool. So the thing with time turners, and the reason that this doesn't make sense, is because there are a lot of limitations on time turners. For instance, like if you were to, the way it works basically is that, think of Hermione in Prisoner of Azkaban. So all that year, say she was doing 2 extra classes a day. I'm just throwing that out there. So she would have to go back either one time for 2 hours or 2 separate times for whatever it might be, to be able to make these classes. That time still exists for Hermione. So what I mean by that is she goes back, but if she went back 2 hours or she went back 1 hour twice, whatever it is, that day was actually 26 hours for her. So throughout the course of the school year, Hermione is actually putting in a lot more time, has a lot more time in the day. She is aging quicker than her other counterparts. Like there are things that matter when it comes to this. It has ramifications. If you travel back years in time, and if then you were to try to travel back you would either have to live out that time, or if you travel back, you would age. That's the way time turners fucking work. And it's one of the things that was introduced probably to limit kind of the ease and usefulness of them for ways like that. Because at this point, what the fuck good are time turners? Is the only thing a time turner is used for is so kids can take extra classes in school. Probably didn't think that one out too well, even though it is a cool plot device for that specific one. But there are limitations around the rules. So in Cursed Child, when you see them using time turners to travel back fucking 15, 20, 25 years in the past, it's a huge problem that they just kind of ignore. That they just kind of ignore a little bit. Jake the Movie Geek for $1.99. Any good book about Grievous's backstory? There's a lot of Grievous in Labyrinth of Evil. I believe you get actually a little bit about Grievous's past in Labyrinth of Evil, if I remember correctly. It's been a little while since I read it. But that's a direct prelude, basically, into Revenge of the Sith. East Coast Toasty Boy for $5. What did one Wisconsin sports fan say to the other? What up, Mapaka? Thanks, East Coast Toasty Boy. SW, apparently Mexican Anakin blew up the Death Star. Who's Mexican Anakin? Zalek and Swotor was much better insight on Kalish. There was a lot more time. There was a lot more time, obviously, with that character. I love SWOTOR. There's a lot of good shit they did in SWOTOR. Some people are like, I wanted Knights of the Old Republic 3. Well, that would have been cool. We basically got whatever that story would have been in all likelihood. The spiritual successor to KOTOR, to is the Jedi Knight storyline in SWOTOR. So. Gonna talk about the LA riots. I mean, what is there to talk about? All those people are fucking retarded that are out there. I said a little earlier, it like obviously pisses me off and it's irritating. And I hope that it gets under control and doesn't spiral and hurt a lot of people. But yeah, I have no desire to get into that here on this channel necessarily. It just all sucks. It all sucks. These people are fucking idiots. And some people want to see it get bad. Like people actively want to see this get very, very bad. It's a good story for them. Deeds Minnesota gives another subscription. Thank you, Deeds. And I think over on, here it is. Over on PayPal, Deeds Minnesota says, any updates on the Harry Potter read-along? I may be a broken record till you have a schedule. I like watching your streams with Gary. You're entertaining together, particularly when you talk about things you enjoy. I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you, Deeds, over on PayPal. I don't think we have an update. This is, I'll say it again. I've said it a lot recently. Me and Gary are going to do a Harry Potter stream together or show or podcast or something. The premise is going to be each week or whatever, however often like we figure out to do it, whether we pre-record and release episodes, whatever it is. We're going to read a chapter of Harry Potter. Start from the beginning. Start from the very beginning. Read a chapter of Harry Potter and have a long, lengthy discussion about that chapter. Not just necessarily the chapter itself, but also things from that or things that makes you think about when you read that and ramifications and like all of these other things. And go through the whole fucking series. That's a long time. Who knows how long it will go, but that's the idea that I have right now for me and Gary. And I think he's down to do it. So we got to work out how we're going to do it, where it's going to be, what format. I don't have that worked out, but within the next couple months, I think we'll figure it out. Lone Tsubasa. Any good books you recommend with Bosk? I mean, other than like the Tales books, nothing really stands out Bosk for me. Like other than a couple appearances you might make in those. It's been a long ass time since I've read some of those books. But some people really like Bosk though. I don't really know why. I guess people really love Boba Fett. We didn't really know too much about him. Current thoughts on the Switch 2, says Walker Takis Ranger. I have only played Mario Kart World. I can't recommend you buy it. Like I can't recommend you buy one. The game is like Mario Kart World's very expensive. The Switch 2 is rather expensive. I haven't tried to play any of my other Switch games on it. I wouldn't recommend anyone buy it. Personally. So it's not like I it's like I can't fucking wait. I have to get one. No, we wanted to do the Mario Kart World stream, which is why I have one. And you know, people like me on that stream, so I'm on that stream. But I am also not the best person to tell you because I am the one that cares the least about anything Nintendo related. Beardo did tell me that the Pokemon upgrades on it are really good. So maybe I will try my Pokemon Violet on my Switch too. We'll see. Mike Hill for 5. Mission Impossible just crossed 450 million worldwide. Not even halfway yet. I know. It's not going to get there. I think we are looking at a $700-ish million thing for that. It's going to lose a lot of money. Dawnbreaker. I hate what they've done to Jurassic franchise, but I still think it's going to eat Superman's, James Gunn, and Floundering 4. I do think, I don't know if it'll be $1 billion, but if I were a betting man, I think Jurassic World Rebirth is going to make more than Fantastic Four and Superman. Fantastic Four and Superman, for me, right now, my expectations are between 650 and 700 for both of those, like in that area. I mean, I hope that both movies are, I would love to just be stunned and walk out there and both movies are fucking great. We have like a fantastic Superman movie that like gives me everything that I want despite my doubts. I would love it if we walked into the Fantastic Four and they do the characters right and they honor all these things. I don't think there's much chance of that happening with female Silver Surfer and with the plot leaks we've already heard about how the movie ends and with Sue Storm being the leader of the Fantastic Four. I would love to be surprised and shocked and stunned. And something is going to happen. The Floundering 4. Like he says, Superman going to do way more than that. I don't know. I don't know. You also have to remember that the projections for the box office for Superman are not based on ticket sales yet. Tickets go on sale, I think, in the next couple days for Superman. And after the first 48 hours, we're going to start seeing the projections for opening weekend that are actually based on data and not just people like, wow, a lot of people are talking about this. I think it could do this. That's about as valuable as me making a random prediction like I just did. So it's going to be telling after that as well to see what Superman does. I hope I'm as wrong could be. Is this Jake? Oh my God. This Jake dude. This fucking queer ass cocksucker Jake with his dumbass fucking profile picture. What, sometimes retards also have profile pictures. That does happen. That's the other 50% like we talked about. This dude has been fucking in my chats for like 5 fucking years. And all he does is fucking slobber the cock of every Disney and Marvel thing in existence. It's fucking wild. This dude is literally, he never fucking eats. He is sustained only by the fucking semen of Disney overlords that he continues to suck the cock of. Like, that's how Jake survives. That's how he gets his calories and protein intake every single fucking day. It is crazy. But Jake is still here. Whenever a man has this kind of profile picture, you probably want to check the hard drive too. Just saying. It's fucking weird. But in terms of what you said, I would love it if it was good. Based on everything we've heard about it, I don't think it will be good. And I said what I think it'll do, looking at it the box office wise. But I hope that it's good. I just don't have much faith that that's going to be the case. Disney bot, Disney adult. Maybe. Dave L., you're also getting trolled most likely. So Jake specifically, like I'm saying, this has been a dude who's been around in this chat off and on for like 5 fucking years with that same gay ass profile picture. So, What can I say? It's a long troll. I've been listening to the Revenge of the Sith audiobook and really enjoying it. Are Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones novels worth a read listen? I always think they're not as good, but the Revenge of the Sith is peak in terms of those ones. But I always think they're worth a read, for sure. I think R.A. Salvatore did the... same guy did Vector Prime, did Attack of the Clones novelization. Bo Briscoe, Jake is gayer than I am. Gayer than AIDS. Thanks. Thanks, Bo, who is gay. Dawnbreaker for 5. We still have a DEI Jurassic Park game to look forward to. Would you like to play as Dr. Grant? Well, best we can do is some random Indian woman. Speaking of games, is it time? Is it time? I think it's time. We got to talk about, bro, I can only imagine how many people are going to be fucking upset about this shit. Especially people like Idris. We got to talk about the next hot game. All right. You guys saw it in the thumbnail. Yeah. You guys saw it in the thumbnail. How could you not be excited for this? How could you not be excited for this? I know I am. Maybe more excited for a game than I've been in quite some time. Over the last several days, there have been a ton of gaming announcements, including Relooted, which, you know what? Didn't know anything about this project going in, but now it might be my most highly anticipated game release in recent memory. And it's because of the way it's been received and the reaction to it and the entire premise in the first place. Because we're all about diversity here. We're all about representation. And what if I told you that they decided to make a Black-focused game, an African-focused game, where the point was for these players to steal things? You'd be like, oh, that's kind of a joke, right? Is that a meme or something? No, that is exactly what's happening with Relooted. Rescue African artifacts. Rescue meaning steal. African artifacts from colonizers' museums in the heist game Relooted. Semblance Studio, Namcomp, is back with puzzles, action, and a distinct story to tell. Why don't we watch the trailer? And this one has been really well received. 4.9 thousand dislikes to 697 likes. Let's watch though. Let me actually share the audio. We need to share the audio for this one so you guys can actually hear it. Well, let's give it a watch. Maybe everyone in the comments section has it wrong. Maybe it's actually great. Let's watch this thing.
What is fun about an abandoned warehouse, Trev?
That's right, you got nothing to prove, sis. No matter what they say.
Okay. What's this all about?
Treaties were signed, promises made and broken. Is it stealing to take back what was stolen?
Stolen? Who is stealing then?
Us?
Bro, who is this dude? Is this a dude or a chick or Professor Grace? I don't know. That voice was a little strange, huh?
Stealing then?
Us?
It's time to get out of there.
Let me introduce a friend of mine. Smart, agile, and will let you look into places with the tightest security.
I could probably bench press every one of you.
The locksmith strikes again. Hold on.
So we're getting a little bit of the gameplay here, but really we want to focus on the story and the point of this entire game.
Listen, are you having second thoughts?
No. Just hoping you won't get me killed.
Yeah.
I know what you and your little crew are doing.
Nobody threatens my family or my friends and gets away with it. So we are going to do whatever it takes to take back Africa's belongings, and we're going to do it together.
Relooted. You really can't make this shit up. And I can only imagine what we'll see if we'll go through the comments section. Africans get into game development. It's a theft simulator. South Park couldn't make a parody this good. Finally, a proper representation of black people in video games. That is a little harsh. If we're giving things back to the rightful owners, can Africa please pay back Western countries the trillions of dollars given to them as foreign aid? Will the journos cry racism on this? Mostly peaceful, the game. If the main objective of this game was to strengthen stereotypes, then congratulations, you succeeded. And obviously, very similar reaction on social media. Make black people game. It's about stealing. Oh my God, LMAO. Epic Games advertises an anti-racist game that supposedly promotes African culture. It's a game about theft, robbery, and looting called Relooted. Again, who needs racists with allies like these? This is legitimately insisting the culture they claim to promote. You create a game about African stealing. Congratulations, you played yourselves. Here's Gene Gentry says, we could have had a game where Africans are heroes saving the world, a game that explores African cultures and myths and presents them in a cool way. Instead, we get this. You can't make this shit up. You truly can't. This game is basically an opposite Indiana Jones. Right? Indiana Jones goes, finds all these relics, puts them in a museum to preserve them. These people are stealing them back from the museum to put them in their little cave. I think that's actually what they were putting in, just storing in the cave. And what makes it yours, right? Does the Declaration of Independence belong to me? I just hang it up in my basement because it's part of the history of the country I'm from. Like, what are we fucking talking about here? These are ours. We're going to go take these back. Again, a lot of people are wondering, is there going to be a Target DLC for Relooted? Maybe. That's a possibility. You're bringing memes to life with this shit, and it's not a surprise. I don't know how anyone thought this was a good idea. How anyone thought, in the current landscape in gaming, that it would be a good idea to come out with a game like this. But if you want more African games and representation, here you go. Relooted, baby. Can't wait to give it a playthrough. Ratio's rough on that one. Ratio's rough. Let's see. You saying Jake loves a Pissney DNA thick shake? Says hemorrhoids hurt. I do think he does. Yes, I believe that's the case. Danielson for 5. Dying Light, the Beast gameplay at trailer. Could you react to, or is it a bit later in this stream? How much I got to send to the super chat? Dying Light, the Beast. I don't know anything about Dying Light. I'll pull it up. I'll try to remember to do it when we're a little bit done. There's a couple things I have to get through still, so we'll get to it. Tyrant Lizard King, top 3 favorite Star Wars EU writers. Probably Troy Denning, Stackpool. I like a lot of Lucino's stuff. I like a lot of Aaron Alston's stuff as well. Matthew Stover's not as prolific, but he has some bangers. That last spot, I don't know. I don't know whether to pick Lucino or Alston, to be honest with you. But I like a lot of them. Bo Briscoe for $50. A $50 super chat. Thank you, Bo. As said it perfect earlier about Relooted, the left-right spectrum is a circle, and the far left has come all the way around to the same racism as the far right. The only difference is the far right is open and honest about their racism. The bigotry of low expectations, as what people like to refer to the bigotry of the left as. Yeah, I don't think it's as simple as this or that, or it's like a circle. But I think politically, in terms of power structure, it's a good way to describe it as a circle. I don't know when it comes to the ideologies surrounding some other things involving that, but yeah, the truth is, when you look at a lot of this shit and a lot of shit that gets put out like this, and they think that it's an incredible representation, and it turns out to be one of the most racist things you could possibly do. These are the true allies. Mike Hill for 5. Did they get the idea from Black Panther when Killmonger rescued African artifacts from a British museum? Probably. Woodyman for 2. There are 54 countries in Africa. Who gets them? Yeah, I don't know. And all of them have fucking killed each other a billion times. So I don't know. Postal Joe for $5.99. Are the artifacts things like my grandma's purse? Bro, why is my bike in that museum? Could be. Could be. Grandma's purse going to turn up there. Where did that go? Thanks for the people that are watching over on Rumble and here on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. All right. Are those my tires? Yeah, are these my sneakers from Africa? I gotta talk. I just had something random happen over here. I don't know why. So hopefully it stays up. We got to talk about this Snape rumor. We've been talking a lot about Harry Potter, actually. I like Harry Potter. I like talking about Harry Potter. Let me keep talking about Harry Potter. For some reason, it fucking went way down here. Here we go. I've got that. All right. For some reason, the Facebook thing keeps going back, and I don't want it to go back. We were archaeologists and shit, says Dawnbreaker. Yes. We was looters. We was looters. All right, let's get into this story. Got a story about Black Snape that I don't think is real, because I can't find any fucking source for it anywhere, but all of the massive Harry Potter news outlets are talking about this, even though I think it's kind of bullshit. But let's get into this. Certainly, with all the big castings now announced for the Harry Potter series on HBO Max, one thing remains the big, massive outlier, the one terrible miscasting. There have been some talk about some of the other ones, some of the decisions, but the one that has everyone pissed off on whatever side of any argument you want to be is Papazitou as Snape. Black Snape in the Harry Potter series. Any list of actors, anything that they get tweeted out about anytime something gets announced, the question always in all of the replies on YouTube, on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere is recast Snape. Snape should not be black. Recast Papazitou as Snape. This makes no sense. This is disrespectful. This is retarded. Why are you doing this? But it was a rumor for a very long time that it would happen, and finally it did get confirmed several months ago. The backlash really has not stopped for Papazitou as Snape. But now over the past couple days, there's a story that's making the rounds in like the Harry Potter fandom and the Harry Potter accounts, the fan accounts, all that stuff, that quite frankly, I think is wild. And I've been looking everywhere I can, and I can't find where they're getting this. However, they're all saying exactly the same thing. Quite literally exactly the same thing. From Harry Potter News, rumor, Papazitou might be sacked as Severus Snape in the upcoming Harry Potter series on HBO Max. This is a rumor. Nothing is confirmed yet. Well, that's weird. What else? Daily Harry Potter. Papazitou might be sacked as Severus Snape in the upcoming Harry Potter series on HBO Max. This is just a rumor. Nothing's confirmed yet. Harry Potter Universe goes into more detail. There's a rumor floating out there that Papazitou, who is cast to play Snape in the Harry Potter TV series, may be recast and will not play Snape anymore. This has not been confirmed and is a rumor of now. I hope the rumor actually ends up being true and they cast someone else who actually looks like Snape. And I 100% agree that would be the right thing to do. That would save the series in a lot of ways for a lot of people if they did recast him. However, I find it incredibly hard to believe that there's any validity to this at all. Months after they've made this announcement, months after they've come to terms on this contract, months after all this, and Papazitou doesn't exactly seem like one who would take this lying down. I think he would make a stink about it, considering he decided to make a stink about J.K. Rowling's trans views and all that shit. I can't find an article about it. I can't find anybody making YouTube videos claiming to be this. I can't find any. I don't know where this rumor is coming from. I looked because stuff does get made up a lot on the internet. Spoiler alert. I usually try to do my best to look around to find where that's coming from. If it's a Mike Zero video or one of these people that I know are fake bullshit, like people that just make up bullshit, then I know it's bullshit. I haven't seen anything like that for this rumor. It doesn't make any sense to me, but if they did, it's the best thing for the show. There's no doubt about that. Cast someone who actually looks like Snape. That would be a complete game changer for this series. Because right now, when people look at the casting, of course, there was a little bit of talk about Hermione. And yes, is she exactly the way she's described in the books? Not quite. Fairly close, but not quite. Based on the audition tapes and things we've seen for her on other projects, certainly does feel like she is the spirit of Hermione. But yes, there was a little criticism for that. Snape is the problem that everybody has. Even people that are massive progressives, massive leftists, they're like, I'm all for representation, but Snape's not the character to do it with for a variety of reasons. Yet, even on, this is a Rings of Power fan site that is reporting on this. Apparently, HBO now wants to fire Papazitou after facing a huge wave of hate after announcing him as Snape, knowing this decision wouldn't please fans at all. I really don't understand the people behind this series. Like, how is this happening? Now, again, over on Facebook, there are some other random things that I know are made up bullshit that are spreading around as well about Papazitou and J.K. Rowling. There's this story that J.K. Rowling is suing Warner Brothers for the copyright rights because they cast a black Snape, and that Papa Isidu's emailing her angry emails and saying, like, give me a chance, I beg you, author. Papa Isidu is accused of repeatedly harassing J.K. Rowling by email, begging her to withdraw her lawsuit over the copyright and objecting to his own character, Severus Snape. But there's no, like, lawsuit, and this is on True DC Focus, which has nothing to do with Harry Potter. So there are people that make shit up for engagement on the internet. That is a fact. I don't know where this shit's originating from, but Papa Isidu being part of the Harry Potter series was a rumor to begin with. I hope that this turns out to be true. I don't think there's any validity to it. J.K. Rowling came out and said that she wouldn't fire him even if she could, but she has no power to fire him anyway. All this stuff. It's just wild, and maybe it does give people a glimmer of hope that they could do it, because the casting would look a lot better if the casting for Snape was accurate. And you know what, Papa Isidu? I don't think I've seen you in anything. I've heard you're a good actor. I don't really know. I got a role for you, man. Kingsley Shacklebolt. Hang around a couple years, be Kingsley Shacklebolt when he's supposed to be there. You'd actually fit that character. Maybe shave your head, but you'd fit for that character, not for Snape. If this happened, it would be a game changer for the series, and I think a lot of people's perspectives on it would be changed. I don't see any way in hell that there's any truth to this rumor, or that HBO would fire him and hire a white person after publicly announcing him as the actor. I just don't see it happening. I think it's a massive mistake that will remain a massive mistake. And I don't know where these guys are getting this from, but as much as I wish that he wasn't Snape, I don't think that's going to happen. Mike Hill for 5. With a recent post from Steph on Twitter, Tom Felton back as Draco. He looks like the perfect casting choice for Lucius in the series. He could. I think it would be cool if he did. I don't think that I think that would be a little too on the nose. As much as I like Tom Felton, we just talked about how much I like Tom Felton. It would be really fucking cool. However, I do think it would just seem so meta in a way. I don't think they should bring back any of the actors who previously played a Harry Potter character in the movies in this, even though I do think it would be really cool. So how old? Let me think. Let me think. 11 years. So Snape and the Marauders, well, what's left of the Marauders, would be about 31 when the series starts, if my math is correct, based on when Harry died and when he goes to Hogwarts. In the age of the Marauders and Snape when they were at Hogwarts. So they'd be about 31. Lucius was at Hogwarts when Snape was at Hogwarts. But I believe Lucius, there's a line, I think it's from Harry's memories or from Snape's memories when Harry's watching them. And it's when Snape gets sorted into Slytherin. I believe he goes and, sits down next to or close to Lucius Malfoy after he gets sorted to Slytherin. And I believe Lucius has a prefect badge on, which would make him at least a fifth year, fifth, sixth year, something like that. So arguably he could be, 4, 5 years older than Snape, which would put him right at the age that Tom Felton is now, 37. So I think actually, like, if you're looking at that, it actually could 100% work. Lucius is older. Yeah, I know Lucius is older than Snape. That could work. Pugs Force says Samuel L. Jackson is Snake. Please make it mother effing so. D's Minnesota says he's a bit too old. Pug says, really? That's your concern? That's good. $37 is not that. No. So like one of the things I think one of the only accurate part of the casting for Snape this go around is his age. That's the only fucking thing. Not the way he looks, not the color of his skin, not any of that shit. The only thing is the age. Alan Rickman was too old. In fact, all the Marauders were too old. These guys are very young. They are very young. James and Lily are like 19 or 20 years old when they die. They're super young. Maybe 21. Maybe they had Harry when they were 20 and they die at 21. I'd have to go back through and check all the fucking dates because they're important to figure it out. But yeah, so and that means that Snape, who's the same age as Harry's parents, right? Snape is in his early 30s when the series starts. Sirius is in his early 30s. Remus is in his early 30s. So, like, all these characters, like Remus Lupin, Sirius Black, Peter Pettigrew, Severus Snape, all of them are much younger than they were portrayed in the movies. Postal Joe, Pedro Pascal for Snape. No. Pedro actually wouldn't do it because of J.K. Rowling. I guarantee he wouldn't do it. I think the only person that Daniel Radcliffe did say the idea of coming back to play someone like Sirius Black would be interesting, but I don't think he actually has any desire to do it. Kanye would look good in a Kanye would look good in a Death Eater robe. Probably. You're probably not wrong about that. He could pull it off. He could pull it off. The actor who played Robert in Game of Thrones would have made a great Hagrid. I actually think the guy they got is going to be fucking great. I think he's going to be great. It's going to be tough. Even without the casting nonsense aside, it's going to be tough because so many people have Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid imprinted into your brain when you think of Hagrid. And that's one of the things the movies did so well was although they're certainly not perfect and they have their problems, they did a very good job casting in general. And they have made it so now when people think of those characters in their mind, they visualize those characters, you know? And it's going to be difficult. It's a huge barrier to overcome for these new ones. Because you can't just do a Robbie Coltrane Hagrid imitation. You have to do what you think it is from the source material from the books, which might end up being slightly different to that. And you have a lot more time. You can explore a lot more aspects of, say, Hagrid as a character, like we get to in the books, beyond the little that we get to see of in the movies, especially a little bit later on in the series. We don't get nearly as much Hagrid as we get early on, even though there's a lot of him in the books still. So that can be good. It's tough. You can't just do an imitation of somebody. Maggie Smith was a great McGonagall. Yeah. She was good. Is Simon Pegg going to play Lucius? I don't know. Look, I don't think that we need a casting for Lucius. There's a lot of characters we don't need castings for. People are talking about Mad Eye Moody and Lucius and like all these. We don't need people for that yet because they don't appear in the first season. So people are talking about casting announcements for Sirius Black and Remus Lupin, and it's like those guys don't show up yet. I wouldn't be expecting that anytime soon. We do need a Draco announcement though. Pacers win tonight? I fucking hope so. Go Pacers. Who's going to be nearly headless Nick? Oh, Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington? That's a good question. That's a good question. They are definitely going to include Peeves, and they need to include Peeves. They need to. Can we please get a good Rooftop Koreans movie? Ryan, do you like Rooftop Koreans? I respect them. I ain't gonna fuck with them. I don't know if I like them. Virginian for 5. Cursed Child sucks, but it's awesome to see Tom Felton return to the role. Draco's arc being completed is the only good thing about the Cursed Child. One of the only unique things, yes. Like unique, cool things, I should say, not unique. One of the only things that's like, that is pretty cool. Not Cedric Diggory turning into a Death Eater because he didn't win the fucking because he got embarrassed during the Triwizard tournament. Like, what the fuck? Like, of all of the people, that would never happen to Cedric Diggory, by the way, because the kind of person he is. Just like kind of the entire point of the story, what a good person Cedric is. What? Don't like him? They stopped looted. Look, I respect him. I'm just saying I don't want to be walking around like and them thinking that I might have fucking taken something. You know what I mean? I don't know him. I respect him. I appreciate what they did. They're fucking 4-2. What do you want me to say? All right, you wanted me to watch this Dying Light trailer, Daniel-san? I'll watch it. I don't really care about Dying Light. But here we go. Dying Light the Beast.
What can you tell me about the Baron?
He's a narcissistic sociopath. He's experimenting on humans like they're lab rats. God only knows what the Baron's planning to do with those monsters.
I don't care how high his walls are or how big his army is. That fucker will pay for what he did to me. All the years he took from me, all the agony he put me through.
You want revenge?
Damn right I do!
Dying Light the Beast. Oh, we're not done.
Kyle, E&F is an old chemical factory south of the city. The Baron's men operate out of there.
Then I'll go there and fucking kill him.
Yeah, and fucking kill him. There you go, Daniel-san. You wanted it. You got it. I don't Yeah, I've never been into Dying Light. I never been into it. But who knows? But I think we're all caught up. We've been going for over 2 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, steers and queers. Can't stand the British accent. I don't think she was British. Wasn't she like, it sounded not British to me. It sounded like fucking Eastern Europe or some shit. I don't know. It sounded weird. It didn't sound British. Did somebody super chat me something about James Bond earlier? I feel like I remember getting super chatted. I am having a tough time remembering shit. I feel like somebody super chatted me something about James Bond, like the new game. I feel like I remember seeing it, but I don't remember if I ever read it. Oh, I talked about the Cooper Cup shit. The new Bond game. The new Bond game doesn't look like a James Bond game. To me, that's what sucks about it. Like, there's just nothing that screams Bond about it. Other than the 5 seconds of the Q part, I actually like that. Now, I saw some people like that. He doesn't. I think the character looks fine as a very young Bond. I think he looks perfectly fine, but looks like a mix between Hitman and Uncharted, and nothing about it screams to me James Bond story, James Bond game. Nothing. It's just like modern day spy game. It's weird. It's weird. Go have some Fazoli's. I wish I could have some Fazoli's breadsticks. That sounds really good, actually. But no, I'm probably gonna have some chicken and rice and hot sauce. A little bit of cheese on there. Probably what I'm gonna have. Very boring. Ryan, without facial hair, you look like Eddie Harrigan from Mobland. Do I? Maybe a little bit. A little bit. I'm head of the fucking family, bro. My grandpa's actually my dad. And my grandma's a fucking psychopath. But she's actually not my grandma. I'm not actually related to her at all by blood. She's just the random woman who happens to still be fucking my dad, who I thought was my grandpa. But anyway, that's going to do it for us. What a way to end the stream. If you guys haven't watched Mobland, go watch Mobland so you understand what I was just referencing. Please. Please understand what I was just referencing and not think that I was just talking about myself. Dear God. That's going to be it. Thanks to everybody for being here. Thanks to the haters in the chat. You always make it fun each and every time. We are sustained by your retardation. It makes us happier and feel better about ourselves, quite frankly, when so many stupid people are here. Shout out to Adrian Curry as well for just roasting retards in the chat, which is great. I should be streaming Wednesday. I should be streaming Wednesday again. I think I'll be available. So hopefully that'll be the case. I'll see you guys on Geeks and Gamers Daily tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, should I send you to, I think Vera's streaming. Should I send you there? Jeremy's streaming, so I know a lot of you are probably going to go to Jeremy anyway, but should I send you to Vera, the ones of you that want to go? Let's see. You should tell her she needs to play Relooted. Or you should say that I was told you're playing Relooted. How about that? Relooted. I think Vera's playing Mario Kart World, so go check it out. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.